The Coffin Merchant of Buguma. A horror tale of greed, death, and ancestral vengeance by Dovey. They say he never feared the dead, because he slept among them. In the riverside town of Buguma, deep in the Kalabari heartland of Rivers State, lived a man named Tamuno Briggs. He was wealthy beyond measure, imported cars, a mansion with marble floors, and a private jetty lined with gold. Yet no one knew the source of his fortune. Tamuno was a mortician. But not just any mortician, he specialized in the unclaimed dead. Every new moon, Tamuno would disappear into the morgue after hours. He claimed to be preparing bodies for burial. But the night guards whispered of strange sounds, chanting in Kalabari dialect, the scent of burning herbs, and once, a scream that came from a corpse. Tamuno had made a pact with Owama, the spirit of forgotten souls. In exchange for wealth, he had to perform a ritual, sleep beside the dead, whisper their names, and offer part of his soul. But the pact had rules. He was never to touch the bodies, only lie beside them. Tamuno's greed had grown insatiable. The rules of the pact were clear: never touch the dead, only lie beside them. But on one fateful night, the storm delivered him a temptation he could not resist. It began miles away, on a winding road outside Buguma. Mercy, a bright-eyed NYSC copper, was returning from her place of primary assignment with a group of fellow corps members. The sky had darkened unnaturally fast, and the air grew heavy with warning. The driver, sensing the shift, urged everyone to fasten their seatbelts. "Please, for your safety," he said. But Mercy, ever defiant, waved him off. "It chokes me," she muttered, brushing the strap aside. Moments later, the heavens split open. Rain lashed the windshield, and thunder cracked like a whip across the sky. Visibility vanished. Then came the flash, a blinding bolt of lightning struck a nearby tree, and the driver, startled, jerked the wheel. Screams tore through the night. Metal twisted. Glass shattered. Blood soaked the red earth. Villagers from a nearby hamlet rushed to the scene, lanterns in hand, wading through mud and wreckage. The rain fell in sheets, washing away tire tracks and blood alike, as if the earth itself wanted no memory of what had happened. Among the injured and the dying, they found her, Mercy. Her body lay still beneath the rain, her eyes wide open to the storm. Cold. Gone. She was taken to the town mortuary, where Tamuno worked. The cold room was silent that night, save for the hum of the freezer and the occasional drip of condensation. Tamuno stood alone, staring at the girl's body. The tag on her toe read unclaimed. But something about her felt claimed. As if something had already marked her. The moment he saw her, something stirred. She was young, untouched. Her death, sudden and strange. He felt the pull of the spirit's hunger. Ignoring the sacred law, Tamuno reached into his pocket, pulled out a gold ring, and slid it onto her finger. He leaned close, his breath fogging the air, and whispered, "Let your silence feed me." The lights flickered. Somewhere in the shadows, something exhaled. And from that moment, Tamuno's nightmare began. That night, his wife Abby found him sleepwalking into the river, murmuring names with hollow eyes. His feet were bare. His clothes soaked. He stood in the water up to his knees, arms outstretched, whispering names that didn't belong to anyone they knew. From that moment, the dead began to follow him. His mirrors reflected funeral processions, long lines of mourners dressed in black, walking silently behind invisible coffins. But when he turned around, there was no one there. His children saw shadows crawling on the ceiling, long, spindly limbs that moved like spiders, but vanished when the lights came on. His house help found footprints made of blood leading to the family altar. The footprints were small, like a child's. But the children were away at school. Tamuno tried to end the pact. He burned the herbs. He left the morgue. He even tried to bury the ring in the churchyard. But the spirit of Owama had been awakened, and it was hungry. The nightmares grew worse. He dreamed of Mercy standing at the foot of his bed, her eyes still wide open, her mouth sewn shut with black thread. In the dream, she would raise her hand and point to his chest. And every time, he would wake up with a bruise over his heart. On the 5th night, the family dog was found dead, its body drained of blood, its eyes missing. The vet said it was an animal attack. But Abby knew better. She had seen the dog barking at the mirror the night before, growling at its own reflection. On the 6th night, the neighbors heard chanting from the bricks compound. Low, guttural voices speaking in a dialect no one recognized. The windows glowed red. The air smelled of burnt feathers and salt. On the 7th night, the river swelled unnaturally. Funeral drums echoed through Buguma, though no one had died. The sound came from nowhere, and everywhere. The villagers locked their doors. The churches stayed open all night. Tamuno's mansion flooded with water that smelled of decay. Coffins floated through the hallways. Not real coffins, at least, not at first. But when Abby opened one, she found her wedding dress inside, soaked in blood. He was found in the morgue, lying beside 7 corpses. His body was cold, but his eyes blinked. His lips moved, but no sound came out. Just a slow, rhythmic motion, like someone reciting names. The dibia was called. He examined the body, the house, the mirror. Then he spoke. He sleeps with the dead, but now he belongs to them. The Briggs family fled. The mansion was sealed. The church refused to bless the house. The town council declared it cursed. But the story didn't end there. Locals say if you pass by at night, you hear Tamuno whispering names. And if you hear your own, run. Because the dead don't forget. And Owama always collects. He sleeps with the dead, but now he belongs to them. The Briggs family fled. The mansion was sealed. The church refused to bless the house. The town council declared it cursed. But the story didn't end there. Locals say if you pass by at night, you hear Tamuno whispering names. And if you hear your own, run. Because the dead don't forget. And Owama always collects. Years passed. The mansion stood like a rotting tooth in the mouth of Buguma, untouched, unclaimed, and unholy. Vines crept up its walls. Windows shattered from within. No one dared go near it, not even the street dogs. They said the air around it was heavy, like the breath of something waiting. Then came the documentary crew. A group of young filmmakers from Port Harcourt, eager to make a name for themselves, arrived with cameras, drones, and bravado. They called it The Forgotten Mansion, a journey into Kalabari folklore. They laughed at the warnings, paid off the guards, broke the padlock, and stepped inside. The footage was never released. But one clip leaked. It showed the crew entering the main hallway. The water stains on the walls looked like faces. The camera panned across the grand staircase, then froze. A whisper, faint but clear, echoed through the mic. Chinelo. One of the crew members gasped. "That's my name," she said. The camera dropped. The screen went black. She was never seen again. After that, the town council ordered the building demolished. Bulldozers arrived at dawn. But as the machines approached, the ground trembled. The river behind the house surged without warning, flooding the compound in minutes. The machines stalled. The workers fled. The mansion refused to die. Then came the dreams. People across Buguma began dreaming of Tamuno. He stood at the foot of their beds, whispering names, some familiar, some not yet born. In the dreams, he held a gold ring in one hand and a severed toe tag in the other. One woman woke up screaming, her bedsheet soaked in river water. Another man was found dead in his sleep, his mouth stuffed with cotton, just like a corpse prepared for burial. The town priest tried to intervene. He organized a midnight vigil outside the mansion. Psalms were read. Candles lit. But at exactly 3:33 a.m., every candle went out. The priest collapsed, eyes rolled back, muttering. He sleeps with the dead, but now he walks with them. The final twist came when Abby Briggs returned. She had been living in Ghana under a new name. But something called her back. She said it was a dream. Mercy, the girl from the crash, standing in the river, holding her wedding dress. Abby entered the mansion alone. She was never seen again. But the next morning, the front door was wide open. And on the steps lay a single gold ring, still warm. So if you ever find yourself in Buguma, and you hear your name whispered in the wind, don't look back. Don't answer. Don't breathe. Because the dead don't forget. And Owama always collects. Even the living.